Hello, it's Marguerite from Make with Marguerite. Today we're going to have a look at this small little bag. Could call it a handbag, a table favour for weddings perhaps, with your sugared almonds or your mint in it for after dinner. It opens very simply and closes again. And it's just another version using the gift bag punch board. It's got the gusseted side, very neat bottom, and this time the difference is it's got the flap that goes over the top. You need to start with a piece of cardstock or paper that is 10 inches by 5 inches, and the first thing to do is to take your stylus out and score along the bottom. If you were using patterned paper that had a direction, you would need to think about the direction at this point, else it could end up upside down. You actually want to be looking at it with it upside down as you put it in here to do the bottom. So we're making a small size. You start at the start line, you punch, and you're doing a side first of all, so score at the side, and we're making the gusset, and we move along where we've just scored to the start again and punch again. And now, because it's a small, we're using the S for small, and move along again, punch, and do the side scoring. There we go, and the gusset. Move it along, oops, to the start, punch, and a small, and one more time to just finish off the bottom. Okay. So I hope that looks quite familiar, and that's how it's been for the last other ones we've made. We don't need this piece as in previous times, so if you just cut that off at an angle. And the next thing you need to do is think about the flap that's going to fold over the top. So I've just turned the paper the whole way around, and we put it back in and we score along the top. And this is making the flap. Now you obviously don't need the whole way along here because we're only having one flap. But you do need to do the score line because it helps you know what to cut off. And the flap is on the back piece, and the back piece is next to where we stick the bag together. So we know this is the back piece. So pop that back in. And if you line it up with your previous score there, and you can see the line just carries on, punch, move it along to the other side of the back piece, and you can see the line up here, and punch. And that gives you your flap. Again, we don't need that piece, so I'll just trim it off. And there's a whole piece here we don't need at all. We only need that bit, we don't need any of this. So I'm just changing to bigger scissors, and I'm going to use the score line to cut it. You could use your paper trimmer if that's neater for you. I'm sort of going for speed here. There we go. So that bit there is waste as well. So that's our basic shape. Put this away. And I thought what would look nice would be to add some, let's throw those away, some patterned paper to the front piece. Now I know that's my back piece because it's got my flap and my sticking tab. So this is my front piece. So I've cut a piece here of white patterned paper. It's 2 1/4 by 2 1/2, and I'm going to stick it on with snail. So just put some, oops, my snail's not working. Okay, my snail really isn't working. Let's use tear and tape instead. I must have done something to that snail. There we go. And just position that on the front. I've left a very small border around it. There we go. And now we're going to assemble our bag, but before we do that, it'd be useful to just make sure all the folds are in place. A lot of people use a bone folder at this point. I just don't find it's necessary. And you definitely want to help these pieces know which way they're folding. So I just put my finger in the way so it folds against it. There's probably a more technical term. So stick the bag together a piece of tear and tape down our side tab. And as previously, if you fold it over and bring the other piece to match, it works well. And then the bottoms, so put in the sides, put in the back, and again I know it's the front because it's got my patterned piece, and put some tape on here. I can never quite judge what length it's going to be, but I think that's okay. If you're putting in something really heavy, you also need to use slightly stronger glue. But for something little, when you're putting this together, just make sure you've got the shape together, and I like to tamp it down with my stamping mist. So when you do this last bit, you just need to make sure it knows what you want it to do, and I just put my fingers inside there. So you can see we've now got the side piece. If you wanted to put a handle on it, this is the time to do it. You should use maybe a single hole punch, and punch a hole here and here to put some ribbon through. On this particular one, I thought I'd leave the handle off and just close it. So the next two things you need are these two punches. This is the 1-inch circle and the petite petal punch, and you need some scraps of paper to use. So we've got the piece that I've just cut off that we can make our flower from. There we go. And here's a bit of white. Okay, so we're going to stick that on top of there flat. I would normally say I'd use my snail at this point, but my snail's being awkward, so I will use a glue dot. You could use Tombow as well. And that's nice and easy to do. Now, how this next piece works is you're going to put a dimensional on the bottom half of the circle. So I'll just turn that back over. That's my top. This is my bottom. Okay. And peel off the backing. So you're going to hold it together, and you want, I hope this shows with the two different colours, you just want it underneath there, so you create a place for the lid, I suppose, or flap to slip into. And when you've done it a few times, it just gets easier. So that's basically the construction. I think it would look nice with a pearl on it, so let's put a pearl in the middle there. Oops, no, that's not in the middle. Still not in the middle. There we go. And there we have it. So that's how to make the small bag. So here are the two different ones. I'll move my glue out the way. I'll try and put some subtitles on as you go so you can see all the different products I've used. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.